Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is David Cashman from SEB Housing, and this is the lottery for the affordable rental units at Dwell 85 in Bridgewater. Let me just give you a little bit of information about how the lottery is going to be run and what to expect moving forward. Also, actually, before we go forward at all, let me just ask for any of the households that are tuning in, does everyone know their lottery application number? That's the number that starts A dot blank blank blank, and then there's 3 digits after it, so it might be A dot 001 or A dot 002. If you do know it, you don't need to tell me, but if anyone doesn't know it and doesn't know what number they're listening for, just type in your name in the dialog box to the right of the screen where you see me, and I'm happy to look it up for you. And I'll just type something in there so everyone can see. Great. Okay, so I don't see anything yet, so hopefully everyone has their number. Congratulations on getting this far. There were a number of households who applied for this lottery, but in the end, there are only 7 who are going to be entered into the lottery who completed 100% complete applications. I know there's a lot of income and asset documentation that's required, so good work on getting all of that in. There were other households who applied who weren't able to get all of that in. They may still try and get on the waiting list behind you, but anyway, good job getting all that in. Tonight we'll run the lottery, and that will establish the waiting list, and the next step in this process will be for households to apply for leases with the leasing office. So as I said, there were 7 completed applications from eligible households. 2 of the households identified as type 3 households. 1 household was a type 2 household, and 4 households were type 1 households. There were 2 households who qualified for local preference, and so we will have to do a local preference drawing. It's going to go quickly, because there's only 2 households. The whole lottery drawing will go pretty quickly, actually, so there'll be 1 drawing with the 2 local preference households. I'll pull the numbers out of the box and hold them up to the screen as I go so you can see them. And then once we finish the local preference drawing, we'll do the general drawing, and that will actually include all 7 households who are in the lottery, including the 2 local preference ones. After we've run the lottery this evening, in a few hours from now, I will have sorted the results and put them onto the waiting list. And the waiting list will be in order from top to bottom in the order of priority that households will be able to select the units going forward. In total, there will be 3 waiting lists. There's going to be a 1-bedroom waiting list. If you recall, there are 3 affordable 1-bedroom units at this property, and there were 4 applicants for those 3 1-bedroom units. Now, it's possible that all 4 applicants will be invited by the leasing office to complete a lease application, but it's also possible that the household who's 4th on that list may have to wait for the 3 households ahead of them to see what happens, to see if there's still a unit available after those households have had an opportunity to apply. The second waiting list is the 2-bedroom waiting list. There are 10 of those units and only 2 households who applied and were eligible, so both of those households will get to move forward, definitely. And then there's a 3-bedroom waiting list, and there was only 1 of those units and 1 household who applied and was eligible, so that household will be invited forward. As I'm doing the lottery drawing, since all of the households are mixed up, we don't know exactly what it means in real time, because you don't know what the lottery application number, you don't know that household type, you don't know what bedroom size they applied for. So it can be a little hard to tell in real time what it means as I'm actually drawing the numbers out, which I'm going to do momentarily. But like I said, I will send you the waiting list this evening by email. I think every household in this lottery, let me just check. Yep, every household in this lottery did supply an email. So if you want to know where you are on a waiting list, just check in this evening, probably be 2 hours or so. I'll send those out to you. And those, as I said, will be ordered from top to bottom in the order of priority that households are going to be invited forward in the next step. We will also send the waiting list with your names and contact information to the leasing office so that they can get in touch with you, because they're going to reach out to you and invite you to come in and submit a lease application. But we will also give you their contact information so that if you want to reach out to them for information or to get in touch with them about next steps, you'll be able to. And that information will be in the materials that I send you in just a few hours, along with the waiting list. And just to be clear, the waiting list that you will receive will be listed only by your lottery application numbers. They won't have your names in them, so everyone's identifying information will remain confidential. And so you just need to know what your lottery application number is, and then find yourself on the appropriate waiting list. Now remember, and hopefully this doesn't come as any surprise, any household who's been entered into this lottery has demonstrated that they are eligible for the affordable housing program, okay? But no household has yet been screened by the leasing office. And that kind of stands to reason, because SEB Housing isn't the leasing office, and we aren't looking at your background or your tenant history or your credit or any of those things that leasing offices oftentimes look at. And so it's just important to remember that being eligible for the program is a big step, but it's not the only step towards renting a unit. You do also need to be lease eligible, which factors in different criteria than being program eligible. So when you go to apply for a lease, the leasing office will be looking at certain factors to make sure that you are eligible for a lease. And hopefully everyone is, but it's just important to keep in mind that being program eligible does not necessarily mean you are also lease eligible. So, don't be giving notice this evening or anything like that you're to your landlord that you're, moving out. You want to make sure that you're also lease eligible and are going to be able to lease a unit at Dwell 85. Households will be able to select units from the waiting list in the order that they are on the waiting list. So just for example, on that 1-bedroom waiting list, where there are 4 households for 3 units, the top household on that waiting list will get to choose from the 3 units. So they'll get first pick. And then the next household will be able to choose from the remaining 2. And the last household will get to pick the remaining 1 that hasn't been chosen. So, are there any questions before I do the lottery drawing? Or should I just go ahead and do it? All right. Well, if people have questions after, they can certainly ask them. I'll hang out for a second. But just as a reminder, we're first going to do the local preference drawing. There were 2 households who qualified for local preference. And then after that, we'll do the general drawing with all 7 households. So, okay, here we go. So I got my 2 numbers here. Second, okay, put them in the lottery box. This is our sort of primitive lottery box. Nothing fancy, but gets the job done. I'll shake this up. All right. A.001. And then the next one is A.004. All right, like I said, that was really fast. This one's also going to be fast. So let me just shuffle these up. We're going to do the general drawing now. Again, this is going to be all 7 households, including the 2 that qualified for local preference. Shuffle these up a little bit. All right, so they're in the box. Shake it up. All right, and the first number drawn is A.002. Next number is A.001. Next number A.006. A.004. A.007. A.003. And last but not least is A.005. A.005. All right, so that was quick, relatively painless. Like I said, you don't know, and I don't know exactly what that means right at this moment. I got to organize the results. We do know all the households on the 2-bedroom list and on the 3-bedroom list will be getting invited forward. And most, if not all, of the households on the 1-bedroom list will also get invited forward, although the household who's in the 4th position isn't guaranteed a unit because there are only 3 units and there are 3 households ahead of them. But I will send you the waiting list shortly, so check your email this evening if you're interested in getting those. And again, like I said, I will send you the information for the contact information of the leasing office, and we will provide your information to them so that you can then arrange next steps. Again, SEB kind of steps back at this point. We've run the lottery, and the next steps moving forward are for you to apply for a lease with the leasing office. If you're eligible, you'll be able to select a move-in date and then ultimately sign a lease with them. And then you'll be done with program certification and SEB for another year. If you decide after a year that you want to stay in a unit and you need to recertify, then we may be seeing each other again. But I guess final thing I say is, the leasing office, when they reach out to you to invite you to apply for a lease, there may be a time by which they want you to do that. Being on a waiting list doesn't give you the right to just sort of be there and respond whenever you feel like it. They also have other households who weren't in the lottery who they're going to want to reach out to after you. Okay, but to take advantage of your position as a lottery household, make sure that you are responding in the timelines that they give to you. And I'll hang out here for a sec in case anyone has any questions, or if you think of something later. You've got our phone number and our email. You can always reach out to us if something occurs to you. But I'll hang out here for a sec just to see if anyone has any questions. And if not, thanks for attending, and congrats on getting this far. And hopefully you're able to lease a unit here and enjoy your new rental spot. So thanks. All right. Doesn't look like there are any questions. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and I will be in touch in a couple of hours. Have a good night.